Hello, welcome to Undisputed Boxing. We're here to review Canelo versus Yildirim. Probably not going to take very long, but we're also big followers of the heavyweight division, so we're going to do a quick review of Joseph Parker versus Junior Farr, which happened Saturday morning UK time. If you're new to the channel, please like and subscribe and share the videos amongst the boxing community. I'm here with Rick. We'll start with Canelo versus Avni Yildirim. What did you make of it?
Well, let's first celebrate the fact I've got a prediction right. So that's a big
mark.
I'm off the mark. It's very summery here in the UK. Well, spring is in the air more than summer, so it's all good. I did drop a bit of a bollock with this one because I got up at 4 o'clock in the morning rather than 3, forgetting that it was on East Coast and not West Coast. So I got DAZN on just to see Canelo's hand being raised. So I had to watch it back a little while later. Really disappointed, really. I mean, I didn't expect Yildirim to win or even cause him any problems, but you want to see at least a fight. And I think the only thing I can see is the guy froze. I think he froze for 2 reasons. One, the event, and 2, like a lot do, they start feeling the power of Canelo, and often they say that he's a big presence in the ring. Once you feel that power, you worry about throwing. But you know, I'm not an expert on you. What I've seen of him, he's quite a fast starter, and he's relatively aggressive, and he's had, you know, quite a few first round knockouts, second round knockouts, or knockdowns. You know, and all the talk was he was going to put it on him. And I know talk is cheap, but I thought at least he'd have a go for a few rounds, maybe then feel the power and back off and then get beat up. But he just got beat up.
Yeah.
So yeah, a bit disappointed really, but the result was, I mean, I think I said between 4 and 6. So I obviously didn't give him long. I just thought he'd go out on his shield, and I'm a bit disappointed. I know that the trainer pulled him out to maybe say, you know, fight another day, but I don't know. It's your chance of greatness, and you know, I know we'll talk about Billy Joe Saunders, but he won't go out like that. I'll be very surprised. Yeah. So yeah, a bit disappointed, but I mean, I imagine you feel the same, really. But some of it was expected, or the result was.
Yeah, I mean, leading up to the fight, I mean, I knew I was going to watch it. I never thought for 1 minute he was going to trouble Canelo in any way, shape, or form. And I think most of the boxing community, you know, were fully expecting it to go exactly that way. I think he was 40-1 to win, which shows you, you know, what it was all about, really. And also with, you know, odds that wide, it is kind of shocking that he is the mandatory. I mean, we could probably talk about that for a good hour or so as to, you know, with the problems in boxing and mandatories and why on earth he was mandatory. I rewatched Avni Yildirim versus Chris Eubank Jr. just to kind of try and get some kind of hope that this was going to be remotely a competitive fight. And for the first couple of rounds, like Avni Yildirim, he was throwing a lot of fire. And in the very first round, like he literally sprinted towards Chris Eubank Jr. And I was just thinking I was just like wondering whether, you know, how is he going to approach? But he was very, very cagey. And I thought, yeah, you're right. Maybe start off.
He's the opposite.
Yeah, he was just completely gun shy. And I think
one extreme to the other.
Yeah. But I think by all accounts, I mean, I've not watched any of the other fights, but I think it was a stacked out card, and it was almost kind of like an event, and it's almost like a fight for nothing as well. I mean, Canelo is going to potentially fight 4 times this year, which is almost unheard of. The amount, you know, he's got to be one of the most active world champions, you know, out there, and he doesn't need to be doing it. So it's almost like a fight for nothing. So I don't think we can really complain too much about it. And you know, he retains his WBC belt, and then he can move on to bigger and better things in fighting Billy Joe Saunders, which, you know, I for one, I'm really excited about, actually.
Yeah. I mean, it is a big event. They had people, you know, music stars there that, well, I don't know who they are anymore, but they're obviously famous. And you know, there was 15,000 there. I'm sure there'd have been a lot more if they could have filled it. So yeah, you're right. It is an event. I mean, the card. I looked through the card, and the only one that I was remotely bothered about watching was Zhang versus Forrest.
Yeah.
Forrest or Forrester, heavyweight.
Jerry Forrest.
That was a draw. Yeah, but that was a draw from all accounts. Not from all accounts. That was a draw. The actual result, but I think Zhang like gassed early. And they're trying to big him up really, but from what I've seen, he's half decent, but he gets into a decent level and he won't be any good. But I think they're hoping they can build him up for a fight in China for big money.
Yeah.
Send Joshua over there or someone to fight in the bird's nest, just for big money, even though it may not be that competitive. But drawing with Jerry Forrester doesn't set you up well for that.
I get that feeling as well, actually, because it's interesting that you say that. I think that because they tried to get Zilly Zhang out on one of the Monaco cards with Matchroom, and they're always talking about fighting in China, fighting in the bird's nest. I just wonder if AJ is maybe going to do something similar to what Canelo has done, this weekend with Yildirim, and kind of fit in a Zilly Zhang, like maybe 8 or 10 weeks after like a big fight in China, just as a bit of a kind of a money spinner, keep busy. Not going to be too much of a threat. I mean, I think it could potentially be done. But yeah, what did you make of Joseph?
Yeah, I am. Sorry, I would say I'm buzzing for the. We might as well talk about Billy Joe as well while we're on Canelo. But
okay,
so
yeah.
Part of me's buzzing for the fight, as in I just can't wait to see it, and I'm intrigued. And I think the build-up will be great because I think he'll just try and get into his head. And I don't think it will work, but it'll just be fun to watch. But I really struggle to see a way that Billy Joe can win this because he's got no power to trouble him. He's not the biggest. He was never the biggest punch in middleweight. He's definitely not the biggest punch in super middle. And Canelo's got an awesome chin. So I just don't know how he beats him, because then he's got to beat him on points. And one, that's just going to be hard to do anyway. And two, will he ever get points decision over Canelo? So part of me is like looking forward to it, but then there's a bit of me that's like, but I only know one result. I can only see one result. I don't even give Billy Joe 10% of a chance on this. I'll probably say 95-5. And it's all because of lack of power and granite chin. So that's taken away, options taken away from Billy Joe in my mind, and therefore it's just points. Well, that's damn hard for him to do anyway, and even if he does well, he won't get a close decision. And it's going to be, I can't see him schooling him for 12 rounds, and even if he did, would he get it? So it'd have to be a very, very one-sided fight, technically, for him to win. And I don't believe he can deliver that. And that it loses a little bit for me. I also think I'd have loved to have seen this a couple of years ago and more at middleweight. And I think that would have given Billy Joe a better chance of winning through points, even though I think you're talking from 5% to 10%.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you've got to take out the fact that he can knock him out. I mean, if Golovkin can hit Canelo with his best shots and he doesn't, I mean, he didn't even rock him really. Like Canelo just took it. So yeah, you've almost got to categorically rule out Billy Joe Saunders being able to knock him out. So it's really being able to sort of school him. But he's so good off the back foot though. Like he's very, very good off the back foot. I mean, he embarrassed David Lemieux. Absolutely embarrassed him. I know that he's a very different kind of fighter to Canelo, and he's a lot more skilled and measured in his attacks. But I don't know. I'm definitely intrigued. A lot more pumped up for this one than I did. To be honest with you, I always gave Billy Joe Saunders a better shot than Callum Smith. To be honest, I do think Callum Smith was always going to be a little bit.
Yes. See, I don't, and mainly because Callum Smith did have the power, or he had a better chance of knocking him out, even if he could. Or I don't know if he ever could, but you know, you've got to say that he's got a granite chin, but he's a hard hitting super heavyweight. So super middleweight.
Yeah.
So that's why I was a bit more excited. If he caught him, you know, could he do something? And the Lemieux fight is, you know, is a great thing, but you're right, they're different fighters. I'm not sure Billy Joe can do that at that weight for as long. And even if he did do that, would he even then get the recognition? I think, you know, the best I think I'm hoping for is that Billy Joe does really, really well, wins quite a lot of rounds, and it's a close fight, and just does himself kind of proud. I just can't see him getting a decision over Canelo. And also, because Canelo will always look like the come forward fighter against Billy Joe. Yeah. You know, so I don't want to burst the bubble, because there's part of me is still looking forward to it, but I just can't see, you know, angle. If Billy Joe had a hard punch, I'd be a bit more, you know, a bit more excited, but don't know. And I know we'll do predictions nearer the time. I just think Billy Joe will move a lot in the first half, and he'll look very good, and it will be tit for tat and that. And I just think he'll slow down quite quickly in the final third. Okay. And he might get, you know, I think he was slowing down against Murray, and I know that was a first fight back for a while, and I know he'll be in better shape for this, but he was slowing down then and getting caught off Murray, and I know he probably different respect levels, but that Lemieux fight, it was very, very trim. I think he'd had a few fights just before it. There you go.
Yeah, we'll see. And I think most are going to be starting maybe at least 2 or 3 rounds behind them on the scorecards before the first bell. That's just the reality of it. If it's in Texas or Vegas, you know, most certainly they're going to have to win 9 rounds to even get a shot at winning.
Yeah, I mean, even if he does what he did against Lemieux, I struggle to see him being given it, and I don't think he can do that against Lemieux, because against Canelo, what he did against Lemieux, because he's quicker feet, quicker hands, smarter. Yeah, Billy Joe won't have movement because he's heavier and older. Yeah, I can't see a way where it can happen. Yeah. There you go. Well, did you see the fight in Auckland?
I did see it. It's funny actually, because I've got into this habit now of watching a fight, but I'll also watch it on Twitter, and it was getting a lot of shit talk as well on Twitter, just saying it was a really terrible fight. And I kind of understand. I mean, towards the second half of the fight, probably was a little bit ugly. It did get a little bit messy. There was a lot of jabbing and grabbing and holding, but I think that was partly down to both fighters probably not in great condition. And this is a fight that's been put off for months and months. It was supposed to happen, I think, middle of last year. So, you know, inactivity on both sides, maybe fitness problems as well. But I thought it was a good win for Joseph Parker. I thought the scorecards were a little bit unfair on Junior Fight. Probably had it a little bit closer. I didn't actually score the fight, but I think Joseph Parker was landing the cleaner work. I'd maybe give Farr maybe three or four of the rounds. I thought he did pretty well. And it wasn't. I mean, it could have been easy, you know, a walkover job before Joseph Parker is going in with a more of a serious contender to get into position to fight for a world title again. But I'd say Junior Farr was probably easily like a top 30, top 35 heavyweight. So yeah, I thought his feet looked a little bit slow. I don't know if because I thought I think it was his career lightest since the AJ fight. So I thought that might be, you know, that he'd be in pretty good condition. But he looks a little bit slow on his feet. I don't know what you thought.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is one of those where it was going in. I didn't know what to expect from Farr. I hadn't seen enough of him. But I have to say, I only saw the highlights. I didn't watch the full fight, so hard to score. But it did feel tight or a close-ish fight, competitive. And some of those scorecards, was it 118, 109 or something like that, just felt too far apart. Yeah. But yeah, I was impressed with Farr more than I thought I'd be, and I was disappointed with Joe Parker. Yeah. You know, so I think that made it come closer. Inactivity is probably going to have something to play. I'm just not sure how much. But Parker looks like he's gone into, I don't know, he seemed to be a bit more of a feared fighter. Nah, he was once a bit more of a feared fighter. I just think he looks a bit averagey now. And you're right, he did look slow and sluggish. And I think Farr did a good job at kind of spoiling some of the work as well. Had a good game plan there. And he didn't look, I mean, they've done it, I think they fought 3 times in the amateurs. And Farr looked very relaxed in there, you know, early on. You know, he looked, and I think that helped him with his energy levels, and he still looked quite fresh towards the end. So all those things kind of impressed me with Farr. One of the things that came across my mind was how big a puncher is Parker? Like, I don't know, I had it in my head he was quite a biggish puncher. But I look at some of the people he's been in and not finished off. I mean, when he fought Ruiz, he didn't knock him down, but and I thought that was strange. But now I get it,
Yeah.
you know. But he's been in with some of the people, and he's either taken a long time to knock them down, or you know, he's not knocked them down. And then you think, well, he did knock Dylan White down, and he's not got a granite. He's not got a granite chin. He hasn't got no chin, but then he was knackered at the end. And it all links back to the fact that the way AJ fought against him. AJ fought. He's the first saw him fight against someone that he thought, "Ooh, don't want to get clipped off this guy." Do you know what I mean? And then I look back and go, did he have to fight like that? But I just don't know. I can't work out if he hits hard or not. He looks like he could get in, becoming more of a messy fighter. And I know that's because he's lost his sharpness and his speed a little bit. And is that inactivity, or is it just him slowing down? I don't know. But he just looks a bit messy now. And I look at him and just think, I can't see him troubling anyone at any of the top levels. There's a guy for his last fight who the Savage fought, and it took him 5 or 6 rounds to kind of knock him out.
Yeah.
Again.
It was Sean Dell Winters, the American.
And Savage did it in like 2 or 3. And I don't rate Savage particularly. I think he's great entertainment and that. And I know you can't always compare stuff like that, but you think someone that's fought is his level, you know, slick boxer who can, you know, punch and got good accuracy and that, should have cleaned him out a lot earlier. And he's fought, I can't remember, I can't terrible names at the moment, but he fought another guy that went 12 rounds, and then Ortiz wiped him out.
I know who you're talking about. Ruslan Kajanu, the Romanian. Yeah.
Might be Romanian.
Yeah, Kajanu.
I mean, I know they were sparring, and that may have thingied it, but yeah, I don't know. And he might be someone who just fights better at a higher level. I don't know, but I just don't think he's come out of any of this. You know, when he got beat off you know, AJ, it was like, well, you know, AJ didn't knock him down. It was relatively competitive. And then, you know, against the White fight, you were like, you know, he that was a very, you know, he nearly won that at the end. And so he came out then with credit. But when he fights crap, or not crap, at the lower level, he didn't seem to do himself any favors.
Yeah.
And you've got to be careful. He doesn't thing now. You know, there's a you know, Chisora fight that's round the corner, and he'll probably lift his level up a little bit and probably be a bit sharper.
Yeah.
But you know, be careful.
Well, I thought he was quite wide open.
So
it didn't take much for Farr to clip him. Like he was getting hit, and he came in swinging wildly as well with his 1-2. And I just thought, against, you know, better opposition, somebody's a good counter puncher, he could. But I do think he's got a good chin as well, Joseph Parker. I do think he has got a good chin. But yeah, there's a lot of talk.
You can take liberty.
Yeah, a lot of talk now that Parker and Chisora might be the next fight. Who would you?
Yeah, that's going to be in May as well. So yeah. May and June are looking good. Could be looking good. Who would I'd lean to?
Yeah.
Don't know. Really tricky. If there's a crowd, part of me's leaning towards Chisora.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Not not a strong lean, but it's like,
If I put you on the spot now, gun to your head, you'd say Chisora.
yeah, but I wouldn't be able to, yeah.
Like Brazil and Wallin.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's interesting. I think I'd probably.
Would you say it as a clean cut win for Parker? I think it would. If it's tight with Farr.
Yeah, I'm gonna chalk up this performance against Farr as a bit of ring rust, maybe a bit of fitness, and Farr is game as they come, and he wasn't a a bin man or anything. He was a top 30, top 35 on BoxRec, decent fighter. I'm going to chalk it up to maybe a bit of a flat performance. I think against Derek Chisora, probably in the UK, in the O2. Bigger crowd. I think that'll suit Parker as well, being the away fighter. I just think, I think he beats Chisora on points. I'd lean towards him on points. I think it'd be pretty comfortable in the end as well. It'd have some sticky moments, and Chisora would come out firing, but I think I'd probably lean towards Parker on that, yeah. But we can do a prediction on that, prediction time.
Well, wait till it gets announced first. We'll see. Right.
Cool. Okay, well, let's wrap it up, and then we'll do. We need to do boxing news. Lots of news to talk about. So this next one could be a long one. All right. Thanks to everybody for listening.